Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards.
Mark Mason.
Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Whether you're looking to launch a podcast or build an online business that allows you to do the work you love,
You've come to the right place. Podcast Answer Man presents The Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Now, here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
That's right, my friends. I am back. Welcome to episode number 505 of The Cliff Ravenscraft Show. And I am super excited because I have an in-studio guest, my great friend, Tim Schmoyer. Tim, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I have never been better. It gets better every single day.
Well, that's a pretty good track record so far.
Okay, so yeah, we won't go into that. But Tim, how are you, man?
Oh, good. Yeah, it's good to hang out with you. We haven't seen each other for a little while.
Real quickly, for those who are uninitiated, Tim Schmoyer has been on. I think you've been on the show before, haven't you?
I think you've mentioned me a few times, but I don't know if I've actually been on it.
Oh my gosh, how's that possible?
Oh, talk about having a good day. This day just got better, right?
Wow. So anyway, Tim Schmoyer is to the world of YouTube what I would say that I am to the world of podcasting. And so he is the go-to person when people ask me questions about YouTube and growing their YouTube audience, how that monetization and all that other stuff goes. How do you format a YouTube video where people will stay engaged? Yeah. Tim Schmoyer from videocreators.com is where I would send you if you guys want to know more about YouTube.
Yeah, or youtube.com/video creators is where all the videos go a couple times a week, live streams and stuff. It's fun.
There you go. So here's the deal. There is no outline, no agenda that I have in front of me for this week's episode. I just came off of the most amazing weekend in my entire business.
Wow.
I am not kidding you. I am so over the moon, beyond my wildest dreams. This weekend was a total life-altering experience, starting with the Friday and Saturday Next Level workshop that I just hosted for building a business around your online podcast or building an online business around your podcast efforts. And then Sunday, I don't know if you even know about this, but my first Day with Cliff client, which is a $7,500 package.
I saw the testimonial video.
Yeah, 8 hours spent with me here in the Next Level studio. I have a client that did that. So Tim says, hey, I'm getting ready to do an event. And before I go out of town, let's have lunch. I'd love to ask you some questions about how it went. And so I said, hey, do you mind if I bring my recorder? And I'd like to record our conversation. I think it'd be great because I think a lot of other people out there who are building their online businesses around their podcast would be just as interested in hearing my responses about how this weekend went, what I did, what I would do differently next time. Those are the kind of things I think you're going to throw at me. And so he said, well, why don't we skip lunch? I'll eat here, you eat, and then I'll just come over. We'll record it in studio. And so, Tim, thanks for the idea, my friend.
Sure, a little bit better than a field recorder in Chipotle.
That's right.
A lot of background noise going on. Yeah, so I first of all just wanted to hear, Cliff, about more of the details about your event. I looked it up online, saw some things, but just wanted to hear exactly what it was that you were doing, what you were trying to accomplish. Because I feel like I'm trying to do something similar, but I just wanted to hear, first of all, what you were doing, and then tell you a little bit about what my project is and your advice for it.
Sure.
Forward with it.
So the big reason why I wanted to do this is because I have a passion for helping people experience some of the benefits and joys that go along with having your own business, working for yourself, having the margin and the possibility to create your own schedule, the freedom, the lack of a financial ceiling. Literally, I joke around sometimes about this house. We call it the house that podcasting built. And the fact was that before we actually really settled on the fact that we could find a floor plan of a house that we lived in, we were just convinced that even though things were taking off in our business, we said, hey, we're not going to talk about building or moving into a new home until at least another year and a half, making sure we have a good track record. We'll lead up to, but then Stephanie and Megan went and saw a model home, which was the model home for this neighborhood. And they said, you need to see this. Not that we're going to build a house anytime soon, but I came and visited the model home and I fell in love. I spent like an hour and a half the first day, 2 hours the next day. And I dreamed what you're sitting in, Tim. Mm-hmm. I dreamed that day.
Wow.
And I'm like, we have to build the house. We have to. What's it going to take? And literally, because I have the business that I have and the investment that I put into building this over the years, as soon as it became a dream, the question was, okay, what's it going to take? And we needed $67,000 as a down payment above and beyond what we already have, money. So What can I do in my business to generate an extra $67,000 within the next 9 months when we would need this?
Sure. Yeah.
And it was as simple as, well, I could do another podcasting A to Z.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's do that. And I threw it on the schedule. It wasn't on the schedule, and it generated the $67,000 and then some. And then Stephanie and I were like, well, we're going to furnish the house, or are we, with new stuff, or are we going to bring everything over? We didn't bring anything with us. And so the following year, I threw another A to Z on there, and we got an additional $38,000 to furnish. Having a business, here's the thing. Through my entire journey, Tim, it's crazy, but I have not done the responsible thing. I've been kind of just trucking along, and I've not done this responsible thing such as college planning, saving money for your kids' college and stuff like that. And I used to get really nervous and crazy about that. But then I got to thinking, it's like, wait a second, I could just create a weekend workshop and pay for a year of college for my kids. Yeah. And so I share all of that to kind of say two things. Why did I create the workshop? Well, part of it is I want people to experience what I'm experiencing, this ability to create and do love that you're passionate, or do work that you're passionate about, do work that you love, that you were created to do. I honestly believe that there are a number of people in this world who are living the life of an employee, and that's not the life that they were created for. Yeah. Now, I believe that there are people who they're going to thrive as an employee. That's really their place. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of people like me who was living the life of an employee because that was the only path ever shown to them. And it was the only one that was quote unquote socially accepted as responsible.
Right. Yeah.
And so it took a while for me to break free from that. And the thing is I know from helping people launch podcasts over the years that a lot of them are, the number one question I get, how do I monetize this thing? I love this, and I'd love to leave my day job and find a way to make this my career. Yeah. And so there's more and more people being awakened to the fact that they were created for something different than sitting behind a desk working for somebody else.
Yeah. Well, that's similar to my story. I mean, I was a youth worker for 12 years. And limited budget, limited income, and I'm not complaining about it. It was not a lot, right? And fast forward to today, I have a business on YouTube. We train other people to grow their audiences online, specifically on YouTube. And similar to you, we just bought a house last year. You helped me move in. Helped me unload the U-Haul and load into our new house. And yeah, no cap on the income. There's no bottom either, because sometimes you could have like a really bad month, But so there's a lot of risk, but there's also a lot more potential reward. And we have baby number 7 coming in December. And my wife and I are like, this is going to cost a lot more money. Like, how are we going to do this? And I'm thinking like, man, if I was an employee, I would like have the same amount of money for 7 kids as I would have for 2, which, shocker. 6 kids is really expensive.
You don't say.
Yeah. So, and now we're like thinking about hiring cleaning help for the house, and we're doing like the online grocery shopping where they deliver it to you, and I'm hiring more people for my business that like free up more of my time and stuff. And so all that takes more money, and we have the flexibility to do that because we're running a business also that gives us that type of freedom to say, you know what, we're just not going to make as much money during the season of life. We're going to use all of this to pay other people so that we can continue to focus on what we say is most important to us, which is family and supporting each other with this. So
absolutely.
Awesome.
So part of me was, why did I do this? I did it because I have a passion. I want to help. By the way, my first year in doing business online for myself was a miserable year financially. As far as the coming fully alive and living my dream, it was awesome. I had passion and zeal. I mean, I had my ups and downs emotionally, trust me.
Sure.
And I had, when my emotional levels were low, they were low. But I was surrounded by some amazing people who helped me get through those. But financially, most difficult time of my life. However, the things that I know today and the things that I shared this weekend in the workshop would help every single person avoid what I encountered that first year financially.
So this wasn't a podcasting workshop like A to Z?
Not at all.
Okay, that's what I was wondering at first. I was like, did you just take A to Z and turn that into a workshop?
Not at all. I was encouraged to do that as low-hanging fruit. They said, Cliff, if you're concerned about... And by the way, a second motivation for this was the fact that I haven't prepared for my kids' college fund. Okay, and I have a daughter who's going to be a senior next year. And so and by the way, NKU is where she's thinking about going to stay closer. It's $10,000 a year. And so we put some money away. We put an extra 10 grand in there, but I'm trying to build up a buffer because I have 2 kids right behind her.
Oh yeah. Well,
so
I'll have 7 kids all within 7 years. I'm going to need a really big buffer for college one day by the time they get to your kids' age.
So a part of my motivation for creating this workshop is I'd love to have a couple $10,000 weekends. Mm-hmm. So I wanted 10 people to pay I wanted 10 to 12 people to pay $1,000 a piece. Boom. That was definitely a motivator for me. And the interesting thing is this weekend, as a result of just setting that as a goal, this is what I want. This is what I made, and I'm just doing math on my calculator because I do it better on a calculator than in my head. This weekend, I made $15,500. That's $15,500 that I would not had if 4 weeks ago I didn't say, I would like to make an extra $10,000.
You pulled it off in 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
I did not realize that.
Oh, no. You want to hear the
wow.
story about this?
Oh, my gosh.
So literally, it was May 1st. I said to my mastermind group, hey, guys, here are the 8 things I want to work on in May and June. One of which was this weekend.
They said, get her done.
and the thing is, I didn't work on it for the first 3 weeks. And then finally, it's like, okay, it's time to do this. And so 4 weeks ago, I set up the sales page. Wow. And I sold it. And the sales page is basically just saying, hey, this has been my experience. If you're thinking about creating an online business, I think I can help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made. And it's pretty much all of that. By the way, no communication as to what they're going to learn on my sales page.
What's on your sales page then?
Actually, let's go there. So
I think I looked at it like when I was trying to figure out, because you told me you're doing this event, and then you invited me to come hang out for a little bit, but I had other obligations. I couldn't come, but...
let's look at this.
I didn't watch the video though.
So this is only a 2-minute and 39-second video. So let's listen to the video.
Do you want to create or grow an online business around your podcasting efforts? My name is Cliff Ravenscraft from podcastanswerman.com, and I've had the privilege of personally one-on-one helping folks like Michael Hyatt, Amy Porterfield, John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, and thousands of others successfully launch an online podcast. Not only that, but I've also been there through the process of helping many of these individuals create very successful and very profitable online businesses around their podcasting efforts. In fact, I know that what has drawn many people to me personally is my own story of how I turned my hobby into a full-time career by creating an online business around my own podcasting efforts. I have a passion for helping other people to experience some of the great things I've experienced in my own life. And while, yes, there is a lot of hard work and a lot of frustration that comes with building your own online business, the rewards are definitely worth it. In fact, I live by the motto that says, I don't need easy, I just need worth it. And my friends, I am living a life that, quite honestly, 12 years ago, is well beyond my wildest expectations. And I want to help you succeed in creating or building that online business that might be your dream as well. 3 years ago, my wife and I built the home that we live in today. And it was built for 2 purposes. One, to create the environment that we wanted our family to live in for the next several years of our life. But the second purpose was to build the Next Level Studio. Now, the Next Level Studio is not just this space where I'm sitting right now, where I record all of my own audio podcasts, but off to my right of where I'm sitting right now is a huge training space. Well, okay, huge enough for a small group of people, because I have a passion for serving people, to helping people up close, impersonal, face to face. And I want to invite you to my very first Next Level workshop here in the Next Level Studio in Northern Kentucky.
Okay, it goes on for about 20 more seconds, but really, in essence, that's all I gave them.
So you basically pitched, hey, I know how to grow businesses around, audiences, around audiences on podcasts. And was that most of your
the big pitch is, hey, I've built my own business around work that I love and that I'm great at. Mm-hmm. And I've also been a part of successfully helping other podcasters build successful businesses as well. Yeah. And I want to help you experience the eventual rewards that come with having your own online business. And I want to help you avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made in my early career. And I have a passion for helping you avoid those. That's pretty much it. But there was no details about what they were going to learn.
Right. It was a business development workshop more than a podcasting workshop. Right?
It was absolutely nothing about podcasting at all. Podcasting was not mentioned. Except for, I think, how to grow your audience. We did talk about the number one thing you could do is to be a guest on other people's podcasts.
Oh, well, look at that. I'm already doing it.
So there you go. But anyway, the thing is, though, the reason why there was no mention on the sales page or in the sales video about what would be included, because when I put the sales page together, Tim, I had absolutely no idea.
There you go.
I had no clue. I mean, I knew that I was going to talk about my mistakes. I was going to talk about the things that are successful for me and all those things. But I really, and honestly, and I talked about this last week, because I didn't know, I was very nervous and anxious about creating this sales page and putting $1,000 price tag on there. Because it's like, what value am I giving these people?
Yeah, well, what you pitched though in that video is the reward. It's like the end result that people really want.
Yeah,
So that was smart. Rather than, because people probably don't care about like the schedule and the nitty gritty. They kind of like, what's the benefit going to be in that work?
Well, I can tell you, you're absolutely right, and that's a good point to think about this, because a lot of people get like, let me tell you about all the things that are included, all the little things, the pieces of this puzzle that you're getting.
You just want to like over convince people that it's absolutely worth it, when really like, that video did a great job of saying this is the value you're going to get.
Yeah, we're selling the transformation here, the end result. But then what happened was, I told you I had 8 projects that I was working on. So I created the sales page, and sales started to roll in. And on my to-do list was, I need to create the sessions. I need to decide what sessions and create the schedule for this thing. And that did not happen until 1 week ago, last Monday. So the session or the workshop starts on Friday. The Monday before, I sat down and say, what are the sessions I'm going to do? And then I created it. It's like, hey, this isn't going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. That was the first session. A step-by-step formula for building your online business. Creating your value proposition statement, what your identity is, and being able to communicate that effectively. The importance of your mailing list and the power of it. And then, of course, the things you're probably doing wrong with your mailing list if you already have one. Because trust me, I am an expert in all the things you can do wrong. Tips for growing your audience, characteristics for success in business. And then talking about mastermind groups, mentors, advisors, potential income streams, and money and pricing. Now, do you want to know where I came up with all of the topics on here?
Past podcast episodes.
No.
Okay.
So the first thing that I did, so before I made the sales page go live, I had a pre-workshop webinar or a questionnaire. So when you sign up, so you go in and you sign up and you click, I want to buy and register. You get a note that says you're registered, okay? And then it says, I need you. I would love to make sure that this seminar or this workshop. Actually, it says responses to these questions will help me customize the content of each session of our workshop to add as much value as possible for each attendee of the workshop within the workshop. Yeah. So actually, what it should have said, if it's a little bit more authentic, I haven't started planning this thing yet. Help me build the sessions.
Yeah, well, now you are going to custom make content that's going to be exactly what your audience needs. So rather than like some templated, things that could apply to anyone, like having those stories that they're going to share with you, like their struggles. Yeah, that's really smart. That's not what I'm doing. I can tell you what I'm doing in a little bit, but that's a good idea. So
I went in and I said, and by the way, one of the questions is if you could design a session of this workshop, one session of this workshop, if you could design it, what would the topic be, and exactly what would you want to get out of that session? And literally, that is where I came up with the key sessions.
Yeah.
And I already knew what sessions were going to hit on people. And I made sure that the ones were the biggest one. And, there were some common themes among all the people that attended and stuff like that. And so, and I made sure that, because it was a 1.5 day event. So before lunch, after lunch, day one. And then there was the morning before we had lunch, the second day. So I made sure to put the top 3. There was one in the morning session, there was one in the afternoon session, and then there was one in the morning the next day. I made sure that every block of this workshop hit. I didn't put all the 3, the big things that they wanted at the beginning, and I certainly didn't make them wait until the last day. Mm-hmm. Having that mind, it's like, oh, this is great, but this isn't what I wanted. Right, Am I going to get what I wanted?
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Right. So having a survey of the people who register for your event, asking them exactly what it is they're expecting, what they want, is huge. And that's what I did. And I will do that every single time I do this workshop.
So were they mostly people who already had online businesses started and they're trying to grow it? Or are they mostly full-time? Or who did this attract?
First of all, since I knew that I was reaching podcasters mostly, I asked, do you have a podcast? And by the way, not everyone who attended had a podcast, which I had some people saying, hey, I don't have a podcast. Would this still be applicable? I'm like, yeah, if you want to create an online business around your area of expertise and passion, it doesn't matter if you're a blogger, a YouTuber, even if you only had a mailing list, you could create a business. As long as you're creating content, it's for content creators is what it is. So creating an online business or building an online business around content creators. So there's a whole section of my survey asking them about their podcast. But then the next section of my survey was, tell me where you are about your online business journey. And so I can tell you that I think it was like 80% of those who came did not have an online business yet. They hadn't even started. They haven't generated a single dollar. There was 2 people who had generated they're generating somewhere between $500 to $1,500 a month. And then there was one person who had and my target audience, by the way, was anybody who is either getting ready to start an online business or who has started an online business but is making less than an average of $5,000 per month.
Okay.
Because what I know is that with what I'm going to share, I'm going to teach you how within 6 months to get over $I'm month, guaranteed. It's like, not guaranteed because I don't.
You got to do the work, of course.
Yeah, you got to do the work. But I'm going to give you the thing. It's like here's my thing. If you've been pursuing an online income for more than 6 months and you're not yet generating $5,000 per month, I know why. And by the way, I didn't know why until I created the outline for session number 2 on day 1 called a step-by-step formula for building your online business. And what it is they start with everyone, and actually it was every single person there, including myself, everyone starts with step number 8. It's called create content.
Oh.
Step number 8 in the process of building your online business is creating your blog, your podcast, your mailing list, all your content stuff. And that's where everybody starts. Start step number 8. I have a passion. I want to start talking. And that's the logical place, especially for those who start out as a hobby and they weren't planning for this, but now they want to turn it into a business. Well, okay, now once you turn it into a business, you can't just say, how can I turn on the income streams? You have to go back to step number 1.
Yep. It's exactly just how it worked for me too. Like the content, the YouTube channel. I did one channel first about 11 years ago, and that one's still making significantly less than the channel that I started 4 years ago where the channels actually had a business model around it and things.
Exactly.
So, figuring that stuff out first is way more important.
And I'm like, listen, some of you are going to finish, we're going to finish the step-by-step formula. And I want to tell you, some of you will either decide to stop the podcast that you have now or your blog that you have now or YouTube channel, and you may actually completely you may launch something completely different.
Yeah.
Or you may keep what you have as a hobby, but what you have is not a business. And it may not be even possible for what you have right now to be a business.
Sure.
But we're going to discover right now how to figure that out.
Yeah.
And it's like mind-blowing. It's like awesome. So to answer your question, I know that was a long way, but to answer your question, most of the people were exactly what I wanted. There was one person here, Tim, who probably makes 5 times the amount of income that I've made. He was an older gentleman. He was brought by a friend who had signed up. Very successful business to business kind of guy. He was a sales and coach within major corporations. You know, if I had to guess, he probably charges $50,000 a day for his consulting with people, maybe even more. I don't know, but you could tell that he had experienced a ton of success. And when I learned he was coming, because I saw his questionnaire, I saw his responses, and the anxiety level rose. You know, it's like, wait a second, this guy, he's not in my ideal target audience for this. Although he does when you look at his response, how much money is he making from his online efforts? And it was actually zero. So while he was coming to learn how can I create products and services or stuff like that could be sold online. And thankfully, because I learned what he was looking for, I actually had the opportunity to go to dinner with him and his friend the night before the conference started, and I got to feel for. And so I made sure to modify the sessions as I was teaching to make sure that I brought in what I knew would be helpful for him as well. And so we pulled it off. And then actually at the end, he was the one who says, "Listen, dude, there are 2 things you shared that makes this price, $9.99 was way too cheap. You need to charge $2,000 for this, just for these 2 things alone." And he told me what those 2 things were. Cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. So that's helpful for me. I've been doing an online courses, I think for several of them, but one called Video Labs that is similar to this, except for it's 10 weeks online, maybe more similar to A to Z actually, where it's 10 weeks of I limited to 20 people only maximum. And how do you
20 for A to Z?
A to Z. Okay, yeah, so similar. 20 people, and there's a training session, like a video, so like a half hour to an hour, like a video session they watch. And then they hop into a live call with me once a week, and we just do Q&A. Like, how do we apply this to your specific channel, your specific audience, your goals, your resources? Make it not just like some expert on a stage sharing some good ideas, and you're like, well, that's nice, but what does that mean for me? Actually making this practical for the individual. And it's great. I charge $997, so almost $1,000 for it as well, and it sells out. I do them about twice a year, once in the winter, spring, and then fall again. And it sells out, and then I have a long waiting list and things. And so this past time I did it, the waiting list was actually big enough for me to do. I sold it out of 20, and I had about 30 people on the waiting list saying, "Hey, if someone drops out, I want in." Which people don't drop out. So I was thinking, you know what? I would love to take this online experience that we do in 10 weeks and instead do it in like 3 days or 2 days, 2 or 3 days, something like here in Cincinnati. Like, let's, I would love, we're internet people, but there's still something to be said for like you and I sitting in person and talking or going out to lunch as opposed to just doing like a FaceTime call or something,
Right.
So, and 10 weeks is a really long time, like not a lot of people have 10 weeks to give to something like this, and it's pretty intense. There's a lot of homework assignments and accountability so that you actually get the results that you want, stuff. So it's a pretty intense experience. I wanted to put it into 3 days for people who just didn't have 10 weeks. So I decided to bring it here to Cincinnati, and I've got like hotel. I'm doing it at a hotel because my house is running around with lots of kids in poopy diapers, so we're not doing it at my house. But we're gonna do it at a hotel. So I've got the location, all that kind of stuff nailed down. One of my questions is, now that you present this, I guess, is like my content is it's already done. Like all the content, I'm just going to redeliver it. The last time I reshot it was like 3 years ago. A lot's changed on YouTube since then, so it needs to be updated anyway.
Yep.
Bringing in a production crew to like film the whole thing, and then I'll use those new videos from this in-person event for future online events if they're just going to watch like the updated content.
Yep.
Before we go into like the normal 10 weeks with them. I mean, I really like the survey idea, and I think that's something I need to do. But would you still recommend that if I'm going to be recording the content and people later who aren't in the audience are going to be watching and paying for access to that same content?
So would I still recommend the survey? I definitely still recommend a pre conference survey, just to make sure that the people who are signing up are expecting to get what you plan to give them.
Sure. Okay.
So make sure, and of course you could actually telegraph a lot of that with your sales page, saying that this is what you're going to get. I did not have that when I created my sales page, so this was a part of that. But I would still do it just to find out who your audience is. Yeah. So, it'll help you learn whether or not, what the percentage of those people are doing this for a hobby, which are the ones that are kind of just doing this as a little side gig, and which ones are trying to go full time into this. I mean, there are things like that you're not going to know unless you actually survey. Right. And so I don't necessarily think you need to say, well, if you could design a session, what would the topic be and exactly what would you want to get out of it? Although you may find that, wow, I never even thought about that, and I should probably find a way to either fit that in or maybe even replace the session with that. So I still think it's a valuable question, but certainly to find out who's there and what level they're at. And you're not going to know that unless you survey them ahead of time. And I think knowing it well in advance of the conference itself, as soon as they registered, getting that information, I think would be extremely valuable.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. The next question then is about pricing. Well, let me back up. Let me talk more about promotion first before I get to the pricing thing. So for promotion, you just decided to do this and launched it within 4 weeks.
Within 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, which was scary as heck because it's Cincinnati. Who's flying to Cincinnati, within 3 weeks?
I love Cincinnati. I'd fly here.
Well, I would too, but still, I mean, it's not the easiest airport to get to. There's not a lot of direct flights anywhere from anywhere.
That's true. Yeah. But once you get here, it's awesome.
It is.
My event is in September. I'm doing it downtown Cincinnati, right across.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
Right across from Fountain Square, the Westin Hotel there. And I'm wondering, you did it 4 weeks, and you limited
3 weeks.
3 weeks. You limited it to 12. Mine is 20 people.
By the way, I had pin-up demand for 3 years. People knew 3 years ago when we built this, actually for 3 years, 9 months. Because as soon as we broke ground on this house, I'd been talking about this for 3 years and 9 months, that eventually I'm going to host live events here. So as soon as I launched that landing page, I mean, there were people who were fighting here. Well, they weren't fighting, but there were people who were here like arguing who was the first to hit this.
You had people out in front of your house scalping tickets before it started.
Yeah. But they're like, I was first, right? I was the first one, right? It's like,
yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I have demand in the sense of like I do this once or twice a year. People are expecting that. They're not expecting me to do it like in person. They're expecting the 10-week online event. So from a launch strategy standpoint, we don't have the website ready yet, but I'm hoping it'll be ready by the end of like next week or so.
Okay. Yeah.
But and it's got video on there kind of similar to yours and like just a normal conference event type website. Schedule, dates, travel info, that type of thing.
Yep.
You have anything that you learned from this experience that you would say, hey, make sure you do this or don't do that or something?
Well, make sure that you have the frequently asked questions on there ahead of time. Try to anticipate the FAQs, like what hotels, what airport, how do I get to the event? Research how much an average Uber cost, car is, and food, determine, and people are, am I responsible for my own meals? Are meals included? Mm-hmm. Those kind of things. I encourage you to do that. As far as, I would start promoting it as soon as you have it. I don't have a ton of experience with live event promotions, so I'm giving you a lot of limited stuff. I would reach out to people like, Michael Stelzner and maybe people on his
Oh,
team.
sure, yeah.
You and I know who's responsible for
Yeah.
most of the logistics of that,
Right,
and we're not going to mention his name here. I would reach out to him and ask him if he had some advice on it. Other friends of ours, you and I both know people who have hosted a lot more live events than us, and so I always turn to those guys and say, How long would you promote, and how much would you promote, and how far out do you think, is it too soon to start promoting it?
Well, that's what I was wondering, especially for an event people have to travel to. Like, you got to get airfare and hotel and and budgeting, considerations and stuff. Like, how much? Now, I do know from an event I did at Adobe's headquarters in Seattle last November that half the people, like when we got to the event, it was only half full. And then the week before, it doubled in size. So it's half the people made up their mind and booked everything. The final, I'm like, that's the most expensive way to do it.
And that's exactly. And by the way, that my biggest concern was would people pay this amount of money, travel to Cincinnati, and even if they would do both of those, would they do it within 3 weeks?
Yeah,
because airfare is more expensive the closer to the event. And so I was sweating bullets when I put the sales page on. But what I will tell you is they signed up and they came. They did it. They made that decision. And by the way, more than half signed up the 7 days leading up to the event.
That's been my experience. So I'm guessing I should just expect that again, or unless it just fills out right away and have another waiting list, which would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Or you just go to the hotel and say, hey, we need a bigger room. Can you break out another partition and set out another 50 or 75 chairs?
I want to limit it to 20 just because for the personal, hands-on.
People ask me here. That's exactly what they say. Cliff, are you obviously this was a huge success. You could blow this thing up and fill twice, 3 times this, next time. And they said, so are you going to move it out of here? And I said, no, for at least I've got 2 more scheduled this year. And what they loved and what I love about this is that intimate relationships that's built with a very small group of people.
Yes, absolutely. When I do the online, that's the same thing. Like, everyone goes into it wanting all the information, and they come out hands down every single time. And I forget how many times I've done it, but a lot. They come out at the end saying, Tim, I thought the content was going to be the most important thing, but the most valuable thing I got out of this was this relationship and this community of people that I know I can turn to, I can ask questions to. These relationships are going to go on. Like, VidCon is next week for me. And all these people who have been in past video labs, we get together for breakfast one day there, and it's just like they all get to know each other in person. It's like the relationships end up being the most valuable thing that they get. So I want to keep that high relational touch to it, and also be able to get to know each of these people and their projects and stuff. So I do want to keep it small.
And by the way, real quickly, the difference between online and offline. So leading up to this, everybody who registers gets the invitation to join a private Facebook group that's only for attendees of this particular session.
That's a good idea.
So it's an opportunity for them to get to know each other before they meet face to face.
Yeah.
And the interactions, it was so funny because, I'm facilitating it. I'm like, hey, I just noticed that so-and-so, would you introduce yourself? And they would introduce themselves, and you would see 1 or 2 people randomly say something to another person, comment back and forth. But I mean, everybody's really shy to pull the trigger or post anything inside of this Facebook group.
Right.
And then during it, I noticed, by the way, there were 3 people who didn't have a car. They didn't either rent a car or bring a car.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm at the what is it? The Marriott. Does anybody want to share an Uber? And that was really the extent of the use of the Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as the event's over, my Facebook is blowing up like crazy. I mean, it's like 20, 30, 40 different comments a day that's going on inside. I mean, these guys are they're on fire.
How long are you going to keep that open for?
That's indefinitely. It will never close.
Wow. Okay.
So, but I was very upfront. I say, listen, I can't commit to you guys that I'm going to ongoing, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
in a few years you'll have 20 of those, and you can't manage all of them.
Yeah, but I said, here's what I will tell you is that I've been doing different events over the years, different meetups over the years, and all this stuff, and I never shut these down. You'll always have this interaction with each other. This is always a peer environment, so that you guys can continue this as long as you want. Just know that I will see a lot of what you post. I may not always comment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So pricing.
Yeah.
With the normal thing being $1,000 ish or so. $997. Let me give you a little bit more information. I just want you to spit a number at me what you think would be appropriate. So there's it'll be me, and it's not just going to be me though. There's actually two other people who, depending on who you ask, we would be like the top 1, 2, and 3 basically in the YouTube space.
Yep.
As far as experts, trainers are concerned, who are actually doing this and having consistent, proven results.
Are you paying those other guys?
That's part of the question, actually.
Okay.
They don't want to be paid because I have a good relationship with them. They're like, Tim, you supported us so much. Like, we just want to give back to you. This is just something small that we can do.
Just real quickly, my thinking is if they're offering to do this for you for free, and they want to, then I would allow them that opportunity to do that for you as a favor and as a gift. Would you do it in return for them without anything?
I already
in return?
have many times.
So don't even worry about that. I will tell you, I've done this. Ray Edwards has done this for me. Michael Hyatt. I've done this for Michael Hyatt. When we go, we won't give any inside details about other conferences you and I both have spoken at. Getting paid to come and do your thing in front of an audience is not something that it's not uncommon for that to be an unpaid thing that you do for the opportunity of, number one, serving the person that you're doing it for, and also the exposure to the audience.
I guess as a guy with 7 kids, soon to be 7 kids, I know how much it costs to leave your family for a few days, not just in terms of financially, but in terms of like energy for my wife, my kids, like that's the biggest cost. So I feel like, I just feel like it's right to pay them, even though they're not expecting it or asking.
How about? I mean, if that's completely up to you. I'm just telling you standard practice at least in the circles that I run in.
Mine too.
We do this for each other all the time. Right. And I'm telling you, we're flying across country. We're going from San Diego to Nashville. We're going from Seattle, Washington to Northern Kentucky. I mean, we're doing things, going all over the country for each other. The same costs of leaving our own families, our own businesses, all that stuff. And it's common practice that we just do this as favors for each other. So unless they're asking, so what you going to pay if I do it? Then I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. But yet at the same time, I want to encourage you to seriously consider what can you do for those people that is a way that shows your appreciation. So a very nice gift for them. And again, it doesn't have to be something that's in the same as a remunerate, but just a way of showing your deep, sincere appreciation that how much of an investment it was.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so it's going to be 3 of us there, and the way it's going to work is there's no experience like this I know of in our space in the YouTube world.
Well, there is none that has the top 3, which are exactly the 3 that you're talking about. Yeah. So it is the only experience. Go ahead.
Well, and the fact that like for example, VidCon, the 3 of us will be at VidCon, but these types of events,
not limited to 20 people for 3 days.
Exactly. Like these type of events is kind of what I'm trying to do differently. Like I remember being the guy who would go to some of these events and I'd take all these notes from like these experts who are doing amazing things and they're telling their story of how they did it and what was successful. And I feel like inspired, but then I get home and I'm like, what does that mean for my project? And I don't know how to convert that or translate that into my, like I don't have those resources he did, right? You know what I'm saying? So, this is the only event where like all 3 of us will be together and it's going to be hands-on, limited to 20 people. Like every afternoon, we're going to take one person, put their YouTube channel up on the big screen, and we're going to be in groups of just giving them like written reviews and personal feedback, as like a group. Like you can't.
They're
going
to walk away with
else.
a plan and next step actions. This isn't where they're going to go.
For their specific goals and challenges.
Exactly. So it's their specific stuff. They're getting their answers to their challenges. They're not going there for insight that they have to kind of, take the insight and say, okay, now I've got to figure out for myself, how does this apply for me? But they forget it by the time they leave and they never do anything with it. They're walking away with a plan. They know what to do next and in what order to do it, which is what I did here. So that's what you're offering.
A morning of training that's going to be recorded for future video labs. And then each of the afternoons is going to be that personal hands-on stuff.
Workshop stuff.
Yep. So this is going to go
3 full days?
It's going to go from, we're going to dinner together on Tuesday night.
Dinner included?
Yes. All meals and catering, everything's included.
Excellent.
So it's going to be dinner Tuesday night. It's going to be optional, but the content itself starts Wednesday. It can be Wednesday, Thursday, and then half the day Friday will be done by lunchtime.
So 2.5 day event. Mm-hmm. Okay. Gotcha.
So throw me a price. What do you think?
$29.99.
3,000?
Yep.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
Well, so I asked someone else. They're like, Tim, I'll be mad at you if you did anything less than 3,000. I was like, what? I was thinking, the online version is like, is less.
It's $9.97. Yeah,
right. I was like, this is more valuable than that, but how much more? I was trying to figure out. So I was originally going to go with like early bird is $1,700 and full price is $2,000. And people are like, no, it's too low.
It's too low.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay.
I can tell you right here, I'm actually doing a post, by the way, we'll get to that probably, or maybe I'll just say it here. I'm doing a post-workout survey. And one of the questions in the post-workout survey, how much, assuming that I do this workshop, the same workshop in the same space, limited to the same small group of people, in future sessions, should I charge, and it's the $9.99 that I charged for this one, $14.99 or $19.99? And I don't know the answer yet because I just sent the survey out.
Okay.
But I already know 3 people told me that you should never charge anything less than $2,000 for this.
Yeah, my goal isn't to like squeeze every penny out of people I can. The goal, I think, for me is like, this is an expensive event to pull off, to do this at the Westin, and I also want to do well, like by supporting the other people who are coming, production crew coming in, so if I did it,
if you do it less than $3,000, this is a loss leader for you.
Yeah, it's not going to be
not kidding
as valuable for me to put my time and energy into.
If you do it for less than $3,000, it is a loss leader. And for those that, do you describe what a loss leader is for those that don't know?
Like it's not worth my time and energy.
You're going to lose money on it overall. Yeah. When you consider your time and effort invested and the opportunity cost of other things you could be doing in your business, right. You will actually, for less than $3,000 for 2.5. Actually, let's be honest, it's 3 days. Because you got dinner the night before, right?
It's pretty close. Yeah.
You're 3 days plus all the days putting it together. And by the way, I had it here in my home, so food and catering, it was very low cost compared to I've hosted some events in hotels.
And I have a business manager who works for me full time.
I can tell you right now, you haven't told me any details. I know it's a minimum of $1,500 a day for the hotel, and that's not including the food and beverage on top of it. Yeah. So I can tell you right now, it just hands down, it's going to cost you money if you do it less than $3,000.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense. And then how important, I guess, do you know, like as far as early bird stuff is concerned, like discount?
I didn't offer early bird, although my friend Michael Stelzner, like he is, I don't think I'm giving anything away. You look at his website, you could see this for yourself, but his conference right now, if you go right now and sign up, it's going to say you have X number of hours before the price goes up. And that price goes up. I think it's $50 a week every week. I don't know the exact increment, but every week there's an early bird price that you're going to miss out on if you don't sign up. And so if you don't sign up by this Friday, it's going to go up. And then the next week it's going to go up another $50. Yeah. So all the way until the event or something like that. So
all right.
There are other people that do it that way. Mine, I just put up a price and said, this is the price. Now, with that being said, and I just want to, if you don't mind, I'm just going to pull a little thing in there. Okay. Right now, if you go to podcastanswerman.com/nextlevelworkshop, it still says $9.99. But you heard the feedback that I just gave you, right? Right. I'm going away this weekend to Nashville, and I'm going to be asking a mastermind group that I'm going to be a part of this week. Should the next one? My thinking right now is that the August one is going to be $14.99, and the November one and beyond is going to be $19.99 or higher at beyond it'll be $19.99 for the November one, but maybe even higher for future ones because I did not know the value of what I was offering until I gave it this weekend, and now I know. I'm like $9.99 was cheap. It was so cheap. So, but the reason why I say that real quick, if you go to podcastanswerman.com/nextlevel workshop, you can right now sign up for $9.99 and you're locked in that price. In fact, I had 3 people, Tim, who said, Cliff, I can't come to the July session, or June session, but I'm definitely interested if you do this again. And I said, here's the dates. I'm doing August 18th and 19th and November 3rd and 4th. If you sign up right now and register, I will go ahead and you can get the price of $9.99 because I'm almost positive I'm going to be raising the price. Right. And so I already have 3 people who are registered for future events before this event took place. Cool. So I just want to let my audience know, go and see what the price is right now. And we're at 49 minutes. Okay. We're good. Yeah. So, anyway, go check it out.
Cool. And the one last question for you.
Yeah, we're good.
Is just overall your experience of like, Tim, definitely do this. Here's a mistake I made. Don't do that. Just for the overall, whether it be like setup or relationally or content or delivery or whatever, just the event overall, things you are going to do again and things that you'd be like, don't do this.
So one thing I want to tell you is sweat. People say don't sweat the small stuff. I'm going to tell you sweat the small stuff.
Okay.
All right. So I want to tell you some things that I did that absolutely blew people's minds. All right. So I went to Staples and I bought these. I went looking for journals, like notebook journals, and I found this one that's 8x11. It's hard bound, but it's got a spiral loop, and there was the difference between the spiral loop. But man, I was sweating this. I was sweating the details. I wanted people to be. I didn't want to assume that everybody was bringing their own laptops and stuff like that. But, I assumed everybody would have a notebook or whatever. But here's what I did is I went out and got these beautiful notebooks. Now, they look like they'll cost about $30-$40 a piece. They were $10 a piece is all they cost at Staples. But they look very expensive and very nice notebooks. And Uniball pens, not the cheap pens, but I bought Uniball pens, and every single
Not Apple pencils.
every single desk had this beautifully hardbound spiral notebook for them to write their notes in with a very nice pen, and that blew people away. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" Now, another thing that I did, and I got this, by the way, and credit to Michael Stelzner and the team at Social Media Marketing World. I had flossers in the bathroom for after lunch because we catered Chipotle.
Yeah.
So we catered Chipotle, and after Chipotle, you always have cilantro in your teeth. And I said, listen, guys, just so you know, there's big mirrors in there. There are flossers in the bathroom. Now, the next one, by the way, I didn't think about that. That like occurred to me like after I was cleaning my own teeth after lunch. And so I pulled them out and put them out there for everybody. And they were like, oh my gosh, Cliff, you've thought of everything. So definitely, and the next time what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get those little disposable toothbrushes and little toothpaste that's in there. So they had those at Social Media Marketing World, and so I'm going to do that. So everybody will have their own toothbrush that they can brush their tooth, and they'll have mouthwash in there for after lunch.
Yeah.
So because this networking thing, right? You don't want people with stuff in their teeth, and you definitely don't want people with bad breath. So mouthwash and those things, those little details, they go a long way.
Okay. Anything you wouldn't do? Like you would do different, like mistakes or anything?
Yeah, I don't think that I made any mistakes so much as it was. I didn't know about the timings, so so I created a schedule ahead of time, and I put down, this session is going from this time to this time, this time to this time. The only thing that because I hadn't done this information live in front of an audience, some of them I was like, oh dude, I put down 50 minutes, we covered that in 20 minutes, and I think it was adequately covered. And it's like, I have scheduled a bathroom break after this. Well, it's like, okay, we don't need a bathroom. Does anybody need a bathroom? Okay, let's go ahead and get into the next session. And that was, everybody was cool and flexible with that. But on the final day, the very first session on the second day went way over. And I stopped I stopped at the time that it would normally, I said it would be over, and we took a bathroom break. And then we came back from bathroom break, and I finished the session because it was one of those sessions that everybody, but then what happened, and of course the final session of the day was Ask Me Anything. All right. And people and I noticed people were freaking out. They were looking at time. It's like, oh my gosh, we're way behind schedule. Yeah. And I'm like, guys, forget about the schedule. And so I would say if it's your first time, I don't know that I would have actually printed times on the schedules. I might have just said, these are the sessions we're going to cover in the morning. These are the sessions we're going to cover in the afternoon, instead of actually the start and stop times. Yeah. So because I noticed that people, and I even heard somebody say it under their own breath. I was like, oh wow, we're way behind. Yeah. I'm like, no, we're not. Don't worry about it, guys.
I don't have an AMA type thing. Ask Me Anything.
Well, there are two reasons why I like the AMA, because you can't assume that everything that you covered is exactly what they were hoping to have. Yep. And the other thing is if you do run behind because some of the other sessions got a lot of feedback, a lot of questions, pausing for clarification and stuff like that. an AMA is not. If you take away a published session of content that people were looking forward to, a topic they were looking forward to, that they might not like that. It's, I was looking forward to that and we didn't get to it. But for me, I basically did not get to we did an AMA at the end of the first day, but it was scheduled to have an AMA for the second day, and I just scrapped the AMA.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like filling in the gaps too for people.
Yeah.
Too. So that's one thing I'm afraid I'm going to make. Like, it's probably going to be. That's the thing I'm probably not stressing out most. But I've never been to an event like the one I'm putting on, so I don't know. Like, my schedule's pretty full. Not in the sense like there's a lot of things happening, but we have things. The trainings. We're going to start like breakfast at 8. Start the trainings around 8:30 or 9. And then I think similarly to what you did, like each evening we're going to go out and do something fun. We got like renting some party buses to come pick us up, and we're going to some nice Cincinnati hotel restaurants. Going to do like a cruise on the river boats and things like dinner.
Okay,
all that kind of stuff.
So, dude, if you charge less than $29.99, you're going to need to go borrow money to put the event on for people.
Well, my what I'm concerned about is if people are just going to get burned out. If they're going to be like, oh, this is too much. Like, I just need I need some personal time. Like, I need to go spend some time in a hotel, or maybe they have like other jobs that they have to attend to.
Here's how you deal with that. You need to. This is where pre-event communication comes in. You need to let them know what the day is going to look like, and you want to pre-event. Oh, that's another thing. What did I do before the event? I use that Facebook group. I had everybody into that Facebook group, and I communicate. It's like, matter of fact, I was like, "Hey guys, want to let you know I ordered my tables. Check them out." It's this. Yeah. I was letting them know about everything as I was developing it, and I let them know, hey, don't think that you're going to get any work done while you're here, because we're starting at 8:00 in the morning. We're going till 9:00 in the evening. And so as long as you let them know, I went to the SCORE conference. Have you ever heard of the SCORE conference with Ken Davis?
Oh, I know who Ken Davis is, but I don't know this.
Yeah, I've done the SCORE conference with him twice, and it's literally like, I think it's 2.5 days, and it's from 7 in the morning until midnight. Wow. And it's like they tell you
nonstop?
It's nonstop.
Okay.
And I think you might get like 20 minutes to yourself. And I'm an introvert, trust me.
That's what I was thinking. I'm an introvert too. Most top YouTube creators are. That's the reason why they talk better to cameras than to real people.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I wonder if I'm gonna be like totally overdoing it. But it's also gonna be a small group, so it shouldn't be as bad. So I don't know.
Yeah, but just communicate that ahead of time is the big thing.
Okay. Cool. Well,
any other questions?
Probably, but I think I'm good for now.
All right, and then the big thing is the post-workshop questionnaire or survey. Yeah. So survey them again, and so I literally just sent out the survey to everybody who participated, and I asked them, what did you think about the food and beverage? Was there any snacks that weren't there that you would love to have had? Let me know, because I would like to make that kind of stuff available for the next time. What was the environment like? Was the lighting? How was the temperature? The cleanliness? Tell me about that. And then I have what is your 1 to 5 rating of each session, each individually, and an option for them to actually tell me something about that session if they want to. Yeah. So post conference survey, so you can make the next one better. Yeah. And also, I mean, you're probably already aware of this, but I would ask probably the morning of the final day of the conference, if anybody would be willing to do a testimonial for this workshop, please let me know, and we'll put you on the schedule. During lunch today, I've got a team who's going to be doing testimonials, and then you do testimonials one at a time of people. This one, I had 8 people come to this first workshop within 3 weeks of promotion, and all 8 people gave me the most awesome testimonials. So awesome. I would do testimonials as well.
Sweet. Yeah, I have a video production crew coming to do the whole thing, so they will. I'll tell them to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Well, Tim, thank you so much. I hope that helped you, and it also helped me because I wanted to have content this week. I'm getting ready to.
Welcome.
I am leaving tomorrow. I'm going. Ray Edwards has a conference down in Nashville,
okay. All right.
and I'm going down there, spending several days with him and his team, and We're just going to have an awesome time. So, I'm so glad you came over and did this with me today. Real quickly before, by the way, what do you want to promote to these people?
Well, I have a podcast also. It's actually growing faster than the YouTube channel is. Every Tuesday.
Of course it is.
It's kind of surprising.
No, it's not. Only to you.
Yeah, the podcast is called Video Creators on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and I also have Google Play because a lot of my YouTube people have the YouTube Red subscription that includes that. So there as well. But every Tuesday I have a new podcast episode just to help people learn how to grow their YouTube audiences so that they can use that audience to spread a message that reaches people and changes their life, similarly to what you do here. So check it out if you like. It's called Video Creators, and find it everywhere.
There you go. Video Creators, the podcast by Tim Schmoyer.
That's it.
Highly encourage you guys to check it out, especially if you want to do anything of value on YouTube. All right, guys, real quickly before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you for tuning in again. I can't stress this enough. If you get the chance to see my sales page at podcastanswerman.com/nextlevelworkshop while it still says $9.99, get in there and click the buy now button, because I promise you it's either going to be $14.99 or $19.99 within the next 7 to 10 days. So get in there and sign up. But here's what I want to say. I know some of you are listening, and you're listening about 7 to 10 days after this thing has been published, and you go to this website and you go to podcastanswerman.com/nextlevelworkshop, and boom, let's just assume that it says $19.99, and you're like, oh, great. Here's what I want to tell you. If you have a podcast or a blog or a YouTube channel or a mailing list, and you've been trying to generate income from your online efforts, and you are not yet consistently every single month making a minimum of $5,000 from your online business efforts, pay the whatever's on the price. I promise you, you are going to get the missing steps that are the reason for you not generating that amount of money. A minimum of that amount of money, if not a great deal more. Head over to podcastanswerman.com/nextlevelworkshop. And of course, for those of you who have never launched a podcast, my next session of Podcasting A to Z is coming up on Monday, July 10th. It's your opportunity to have me as your personal coach, walking you through every single step in the process of successfully launching your show. If you're interested in that, head over to podcastinga2z.com. Until next time, my friends, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.
Podcast Answer Man.